We're on? Can anyone cue me in? All right, good night, everyone. Sorry for that delay. I was just wondering if we were on already. So, good night, everyone. We're here again with the Wachari Organic Association, Wachari Foundation, and we're here again to speak about money management. Money management again. And as it is important to solidify our economic base as people, as a group of people, and the Wachari and the Wachari Foundation is poised to do just that for us as a group. We have some able individuals again here tonight to speak with us. We have Miss Charmaine Castillo again, and we have Moses. And then we also have Dr. Venita. All right, then. So tonight discussion again, saying involve tuning on our Wachari Organic Agriculture Association group page, where you'll be able to see tonight discussion. And we're waiting also for my able co-host, Ms. Ifasina Efeneme, who should be coming in later on during the course of this discussion. So we're going to start with each person to just give a brief introduction of themselves, no? Again, for the people who might be tuning in tonight for the first time. We start with Ms. Charmaine.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Jamal. Good evening, audience. I'm Shamin Castillo, and I'm a member of the steering committee on the Wachari project. And
All right, good night, Ms. Charmaine. Moses, can you introduce yourself?
All right, good night, everyone. My name is Moses. I am also a member of the steering committee on the Wachari project, and you have my attention.
Dr. Venita.
Good evening. This is my first appearance on the podcast, and I'm very happy to be with you. I am a elder on the steering committee, and my expertise is the transatlantic slave trade. So what I will be talking to you about tonight, more than anything else, is a mindset shift, how we have to think differently. So I'm looking forward to our conversation.
All right. So firstly, we're going to start with, do you also have Emilio Thomas here? Emilio?
Hey, hi, good day, everyone. Emilio Thomas, as usual. I'm here trying to not exist, but I'm already on the stage. And we're going to have a great time this evening.
All right, then. Good night, Mr. Emilio. So, guys, we're going to now head directly into our discussion as we have limited time with so much information to share. As part of the Wachari project, I believe that the shifting or re-establishing of the mindset that we could be agricultural practice outside of that, of what the experience of the transatlantic slave trade left us with, that we were only laborers, but as African descent. But for the Garifuna people, when we came to this, when we became employees within the logwood industry and also within different agricultural fields. We became employees, and some of us became farmers as well. Now we're trying to shift that mindset through the Wachari Organic Association project, to enable, tell everyone that we could go back to the earth and it will be beneficial. So with that, and an impact that has affected us as Africans is the transatlantic slave trade that damaged some of our mindset towards the need to cultivate or to do that strenuous labor. So we have with us here today to speak on the transatlantic slave trade and challenging the psychological warfare. We have Dr. Benita.
Good evening. All righty. We're talking tonight about the courses that the Wachari Project will be hosting so that you, as members of our group, will be able to come to the class free of charge and learn and get more in-depth information. Now, I am the first member of the steering committee who was not born and raised in Belize. I was born and raised in the apartheid South. I'm from Louisiana, and I left there after high school and went to Indiana University for college. There, I got a BA and had a double major. One was in psychology, which was my first love, but the second one was political science, which had all the African courses. I realized once I got north that I had a hunger for truthful information about Africa and Africans, because that was missing. And in most of our curriculums, we just don't hear anything good, bad, positive, negative about Africa. It's almost like it didn't exist. So I get to college, and I'm just wanting more and more and more. So then when I get my master's degree, I learned that witchcraft was the African witch doctors took care of the medical as well as the physical side of people. So I did my master's thesis on witchcraft. So Africa just played a huge role in my early education simply because I knew so little. And as I have traveled the world, I've come to see how little all of us have gotten. I spent a couple of months in South Africa last year, and which is the apartheid I left and was experiencing as a child up to high school. And when I went to South Africa in 2019, it was like, whoa, these people act like I used to act. They treat us and train us the same ways so that we all perform for them. We say this and that and this. And I knew that the South Africans weren't learning the best education. I knew it, but I wasn't about to tell them. I couldn't tell them that I knew there was quantum physics out there. They were reciting, they were responding. And that's how we had been trained to do it. So we've all been trained in the same way. And so we've got to get behind this. We've got to stop being allowed to be manipulated in such a way that we wind up always doing praises for people who don't exactly like us, who don't see us as respectful, as real human beings. We are very human, and we are the original people. We're the first people that came to planet Earth. So we cannot be inferior. I don't care who says that we are or who says we aren't. We just aren't. We are the mothers of the universe. Okay? And so we serve with distinction. And we're not trying to put anybody up in front of anybody, and we're not trying to put anybody behind anybody. We're just trying to get the truth out. So I have this 3-part course where in Module 1, we'll talk about how it got started. Now, the first thing that fascinated me was that it went on for 440 plus years, almost 450 years. Nobody had told me that. Did you know that? It went on for 400, almost 500 years. Who paid for this? How did this get financed? Who's the architect of it? And so after I retired in 2004, I have been on an odyssey trying to figure all this out. And actually my odyssey brought me to Belize. I've been here for 13 years. And it's a fascinating juxtaposition of the other places that I've been to. And so I'm now a resident. Now I'm actually a citizen of Belize. So when I talk about the Garifuna community, and I talk about the Creole community, and I talk about the uniqueness of the slavery here, then I talk with some authority because I'm trying to explain to you. Because when I got here, people told me, "Oh, we didn't have slavery here," and I just sort of smiled. What are you supposed to say? All these dark people here, and you had no slavery. Come on, give me a break. But you can't say that to people. That's rude. So I couldn't be rude. I couldn't be offensive. So I said, "Oh, okay." And what they really meant was they had no cotton fields. They had no tobacco fields. They had no cane fields. Now they have cane fields now, and basically the transatlantic slave trade for Belize, and Belize alone, was about lumber. They were stealing mahogany, cedar, all the nice hardwoods. Okay, and so they would go somewhere, and you can see it in the history now. You can go somewhere, and they would go, and then they spend 2 3 weeks. They pull out all the trees, and then they pack up and leave and go somewhere else. Put the what's it called? Put the tree trunks on a boat, on a ship, on the Belize River, and ship it out to the Atlantic. And then from the Atlantic, it went over to Europe. Okay, so it was not about taking root. Like if you go to Guatemala, if you go to places in the States, there are communities that were developed around slavery, not here. So you've got lots of little communities here, there, everywhere, where people, where they came and settled, and they stole the lumber and left. And they're still doing it. So I shouldn't say stole. I should say they're stealing the lumber and leaving. But that's for class work.
All right.
So
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 in
that's
terms of
kind of how it started.
in terms of Dr. Benita, in terms of the course, because yes, indeed, I forgot to mention that this will be a course that is being offered to the Wachari project. What would the course entail? What would I be including in this course?
Well, module one is focused on the beginning, how it got
Mm,
started. It started with the Portuguese in 1440.
mm,
Okay. And there's a lot of nuance and things that were going on. But essentially, the Portuguese at the time were trying to get to China. China had all the good
mm,
technology. So they were trying to get to China, like everybody now trying to get to China. It's the same kind of thing. Marco Polo had gone in 1230, and he had written a book. Everybody had started reading the book. So now everybody all over Europe wanted to get to China. But Portugal was furthest away, and it was a poor country, so it couldn't afford to go through the Mediterranean and pay the tolls. So it was looking for a way around, and that's how it started trading in humans. So that's module one. Module two will be called the triangle trade. That looks at the journey from Europe to Africa, from Africa to the New World, and back. Now, they left Europe with trinkets to give to the African kings, and then they would pick up Africans there, and then they'd come over to the New World, sell them to the planter class people here and in the New World. And while here, they would pick up gold, silver, whatever they could find, because they were stealing. Basically, they stole land from Canada down to Chile. Okay, it is now 42 countries of the New World. And so they stole them, and they were putting people everywhere, and they were making things convenient for Europeans. Okay, and then in module three, the bulk of the class is in module two. I will then introduce you to all the instruments, all the financial instruments that got created, so that they could have smooth trips, because in the early days, it took 9 months to complete the tour as a minimum. So sometimes it took longer than that, depending on weather, depending on how fast they could pick up the slaves, depending on a whole host of ingredients. The difference between my approach and most people's approaches is that I'm following the money. Most people want to
yes.
talk about the slaves. And the
Yeah.
slaves are
So,
good, but I talk about the slaves in a unique way.
all right, Dr. Benita. So your course will be a three-course session, and it will be relevant to opening the mind of everyone.
Yes.
Dr. Miss Charmaine, you also are engaging in any course training. Because or how would it correlate? Because maybe to matriculation or prerequisite. How would all these courses be relevant to each other, or are these courses just being selected because it has been an identified group need by the project? No.
That's my understanding.
Okay, very first of all, you're coming in with what you know, and we are not going to assume that you know um, anything. We're basically going from the basics, okay?
Mm.
So for one particular course, which is a course on financial management, which is about helping people make their business better, there are no assumptions about what your level is of understanding of finance and all of that. And I assume also that with Ms. Benita's course, there are no assumptions that you are,
Right.
you know, there are no assumptions. Okay, we're taking you as you are, and we're going to meet you at your level. So, with respect to the course that is being organized right now, and this is being done through Wachari with the support of the Indigenous Trust, done by two very able facilitators. One of them is Miss Sandra Miranda George, and the other person is Miss Judy Galvez. The idea, of course, is to reach out to all people, Garifuna people, who are looking to make their business better. Okay, and one of the things that have been identified, for example, is people understanding how to value the time that they put into anything, how to value the time that they put into their business, how they value the time that they put into a project, because your time is very important. You want to be thinking about the time that you spend doing this, what could have been, how much is that worth, how much you are worth. And also think about, if you're going to get into an economic aspect and talk about opportunity costs, what would have been the value of the next thing that you could have done? Don't want to be like I'm in my classes now, but that's very important because I don't think we pay much attention to how much we are worth and what it is that we're doing and putting into the energy, the resources that we are putting into the project, the business, and we have to think about that. On top of that, we also want to look at how you can actually manage your expenses, track your expenses, and track your income and your expenses, along with how you value and price your products, how you um, um, value everything that you're doing. So it promises to be very useful and very interesting. And again, we're not assuming that you understand a little bit about finance. But one of the things we want to be careful of, of course, is money tends to be what's the word, fungible, meaning that we can spread money different places all over the place, and then before you know it, you say, where's the money? Right? The money is gone.
Gone.
So that is why management, yes, that's why management is very critical. It's very important. I mean, if you're going to take money out of your business, you have to be able to document it, right? If you are going to be selling and you make a profit, you have to make sure that you have those expenses separated, right? And to know exactly how well you're doing, how efficient your business is. Okay? So like
So,
profit is almost like an efficiency measure. Yeah.
thanks,
It
Miss Castillo. No,
it
no,
is an
Moses.
efficiency
No,
yes.
no, Moses. In terms of the courses that have been selected, the courses on the transatlantic slave trade, the problem that it created, and the moving away from it, and the financial management in terms of money management and asset management. How are these relevant? How can this be justified? Yes, indeed, we might know here why it's relevant and necessary, but for the people listening, how are these courses relevant? Why is it necessary and why is it needed?
Well, let's start off with Dr. Renita's course. That is very, very relevant and very impactful as
Mm.
well. I have seen a preview, and I'd assume I've seen a preview from Dr. Renita's book, but getting the information on our history, people need to know where you need to know where you come from to know where you're going, right? So that information, and nothing is new under the sun as well. So seeing how a lot of stuff has worked in the past and what's up to current date, and how events are taking place, you can learn a lot from that and gain a lot of knowledge. And I think that's something important that our generation and next generation needs to pay attention to. For the financial course, well, that is a no-brainer. Business management is key and is important. I've learned a lot just being in the meetings on Tuesdays. Something simple as knowing that you should have a separate account for your businesses so you can easily track your expenditures, how to value your time, your business, your service. That's something that's very difficult. That's something that a lot of us don't know. I'm slowly learning these things, so I'm interested in both courses. Hopefully the way they're set up, I could do both of them, right? And the future courses that's coming with Wachari as well, but they're both important, and a lot of great courses are coming as well.
I'll come back to you with a follow-up question, Moses, but I'm going to Dr. Benita. Dr. Benita, your course, just to be an advocate, or just to engage. Your course is about transatlantic safe trade. What would you say to the Garifuna people here who is listening? Because the Wachari project is mainly built for the Garifuna and the Garifuna, mainly, we'll say, it's your Garifuna farm owners and entrepreneurs and people who want to engage. What would you say to the Garifuna people who say we were never enslaved? Why would you teach us something like that?
I've heard that for the last 12. Okay, let me be very clear. When I arrived in Belize in 2008, I had never heard of the Garifuna people. I didn't know that there was a community over here anywhere. I came to visit. I was a tourist. And while I was here, Andy died. And then I went to his funeral so I could see. I had to know more. And that's when I came to understand some more things about it. Now, over the 12 years, I've had Garifuna friends. I've read books. I've done this. I've done that. I've learned more and more and more. But basically, you avoided colonization. Okay, you came over, let's say 400 years ago, give or take. Okay, and for the first 200 years, you were in St. Vincent. Well, in St. Vincent, you did what you wanted to do. That's how you were able to hold on to your language. That's how you were able to hold on to your religious practices, your spirituality. That's how you were able to keep your language. Most communities, especially the communities up north where I'm from, we didn't get to do any of that. We had to come right in speaking English and jumping in and getting in where we fit in. Okay. Now, after you moved from St. Vincent, though, and you came to Honduras, a whole nother game had started. Okay. And that game is called, see, the reason our classes coexist or support each other, reinforce each other, is because credit got invented for the slave trade. Nobody talks about that part. There was no credit. There was debt before the slave trade, but there was no credit. Credit is the ability to leverage debt. Okay, and that's what you do in a business. That's what you do every day when you're trying to rob Peter, Pan, Paul. It's how do you make this credit last, expand, move beyond? And Black folk, African diaspora folk, generally speaking, have never had a problem making money. We make money. Oh yeah, we make lots of money. Keeping it. You can go all over the world and you find that we cannot keep it. We cannot keep it. We look up, it's gone. And so one of our main skill deficits, and I'm taking her course, I'm going to take her course as well, is how to manage it. Because we were the collateral. Our bodies meant money.
No, Dr. Benita, not to interject too quickly. Now, again, back to my question. The listening public might be saying, Dr. Benita,
you avoided colonization, yes. You have not avoided credit. You have
Okay.
not avoided wage debt, slave debt. What that the stuff we're in now. That's the psychological warfare damage. That's what we're all in, all over the world, and it's not just Black people. It's everybody. Everywhere you go in the world, people have credit cards. People uh, balancing this to balance that, pushing this to push that. All of that got created. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. As they were bringing us over here. So we're foundational to this whole enterprise. And until we can pull ourselves out and see our role, we can't move forward because we keep getting sucked back in, sucked back in. One trick over here, one other trick over here. They got tons of tricks. And we keep falling into every one of them. I told you early on, I went to college on affirmative action. It was a trick. They weren't trying to find out if we could be okay and work in corporate America. They were separating the poor Blacks from the middle class Blacks in the United States, where we still right now remain very separated.
All
This
right.
is what they do. They divide and conquer.
Excellent
You've got to
response.
learn their games.
Excellent response, Dr. Benita, because we in Belize space that same thing where we are divided as Africans. Would be
Yes.
for another discussion. That would be for a deeper another discussion. But to Moses now, Moses, you said to my question that I was asking. Then I come to you, Brother Emilio, to my question that I asked. I asked if how would people outside see these topics as beneficial? You are a member and you spoke specifically as yourself seeing it as beneficial. Do you believe? Yes, indeed, we might be aware of the necessity of these courses, but how you believe other people outside of Wachari Wagia Foundation would benefit from these courses?
Well, directly putting myself in an outsider's shoe, if I have any interest in not only running a business, starting a venture, but even managing my own finances, I would definitely be interested. Especially, all you have to do is sign up, and you can get the course. These are, and the courses are being taught by professionals in the field as well. So from the outside looking in, if I had opportunity to get lessons from professionals for a fraction of the cost that it would be, and that fraction is basically zero as it's free for members, I would be interested. For the course on the transatlantic slave trade and the various topics from that, that would be a self-interest in um, gaining some knowledge of self and knowledge of the world as it is. So that has to be something from within, and I believe it would be interesting for anyone as well. But you have to, yeah. So they're both you have to want to take the step to gain some knowledge, and that's about it.
All right. But Emilio, I see you came on when Dr. Benita was speaking on the transatlantic slave trade and such Garifuna never being enslaved. I saw you popped up, your image popped up on the screen. So what's your input on that?
I popped up because Charmaine was having connection issue and I wanted to keep the balance.
Yeah.
But if I was supposed to say anything about that, I would say that the slavery and all those events that happened affected the Garifuna people as much as others. I mean, not as much, but what it has done over the past 200 years or so, if you go to the descendants of those people who did the enslavement, they're not going to see Garifan, they're going to see Africans. So we have to be mindful of the fact that history plays a very vital part of moving forward to get those inspirations and those points that would allow a people to grow and to realize how powerful we have always been, because we could have been destroyed the moment we landed in Roatan, but we did not. And Remember that even those who were enslaved and taken from the continent of Africa, those were among the strongest of the Africans. You know, because they survived and they're still surviving now. Their descendants are. So I think that we need to revisit history, and also among the young people, to understand who we are and who we need to be and who we need to grow more into. Not what we see on TV, all the mess and all the distractors. We don't really have time for that anymore. And obviously, we have no control over what's happening with the pandemic. We don't have our doctors, we don't have our labs. We cannot produce our own vaccine, and we're mostly consumers. That has to end.
All right, Emilio. That Mr. Armin, thanks for coming back in. In terms of money management, I believe you heard what Dr. Venita said about our money management skills, that we have a ability to make money, but it always disappears. Also, you mentioned something like that. I mean, we always get away from we gain the money, but we don't keep it. In terms of your course that you might be aware of, how would you teach our farmers and our entrepreneurs and our business owners to break that cycle that has been in existence for probably hundreds of years, 500 years? How can we, as a group, not individually, as a group, break that cycle through these courses? Ms. Castillo?
I believe she's still having connection
Yeah.
issues.
So anyone can take that as a group. How can we achieve
I think
this group dynamic?
collectively
Okay,
we have to have a vision of where it is we want to go and together. Yes, can you hear me?
you're breaking up, Ms. Castillo. So
Let
Hello.
I can speak.
yeah, Ms.
Hello.
Benita, Dr.
I'm
Benita.
just gonna try and talk
Okay.
and see if at some point you hear me.
Okay.
Okay, let's hear go.
Okay.
Let's go, Mr. Armin. Dr. Benita, can you go?
All right. Is this
Well,
a little
okay,
better?
this is all.
Yes, that's better, Mr.
That's better.
Armin. Yes.
Are you still having issues?
No, okay, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. I think I was saying that I said as a people. Okay. Good. I think to some extent as a people we pretty much understand be intellectual in a community and also in a financial sense. We already from Africa where we collectively save. I think what we do here, I think what we call it in Jamaica, we call it partner. Here in Belize, it's called syndicates, and businesses use this as a way of funding themselves. But I think the key is that we have to see
Me too.
very clearly where it is we want to go, and I think we understand where that is. We just need to collectively understand the tools of doing that. One of the things, of course, as businesses or for any project, you have to ensure that you keep things separate. That's for one. Because again, if you are on your goal, if you're focused on your goal, then you gear your activities towards that goal and ensure that you are acting in a way so that you have the resources to be able to achieve it. So what we need, or I think we already understand some tools as to how we are going to do it. The course is going to be more fine-tuned as to how individually, as a community, and collectively we can better manage it, um, with some specifics for your business and growing that business.
Thanks.
I don't know if you're hearing me.
We're hearing you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
And Dr. Benita, you're speaking to a course, I got a specific question. You're speaking of a course in a country that is very much divided in terms. No, it's not a lie that we have some sense of division amongst two African groups here in Belize, right? Two of us are Africans, both the groups. How would you, in your course, break a cycle again? The same question I was asked to Ms. Castillo. How will your course enable that cycle to be broken? Remember, this is to develop a mindset that would break away from what has kept us back. How do you believe your course will assist in that?
Okay, first of all of us have been fed the same lies. I don't care where you're from. I don't care where you've been. I don't care who your mama was, your daddy was, your this one, your was, that one was. It doesn't matter. We've all been told over and over and over again that we're not enough. Okay? It's a lie. We, as Africans, are the only group that have been actively severed from their ancestors. Our ancestors lied on us. They told this on us. They were this wrong. They got this wrong. They got that wrong. We have to individually and collectively face those lies and see them for what they are. Nobody talks about them. Nobody, everybody pretends that they go away somewhere, and they haven't. They're not going to go away because they are entrenched in our thinking, our daily thinking from the minute we're 5 years old. I used to remember when we would do Black History Month in the United States every February. So February 1st, I'd be going to work, and it was like, oh God, another Black History Month. And one year, I'm on my way, and I realized that they prance out the fabulous 5, the fabulous 25. It doesn't matter. They got their own agenda. And so they keep us focused on what they want us to do. And I decided that anybody African over 3 was a hero of mine. Because by 3, they've already told us over 1,000, 1,000,000 times that our hair isn't right, our eyes aren't right, our this isn't right, our that isn't right. Oh, no, you can't go this far because you have this or that or that or this. We've all heard it. What have we done about it? And what can we do about it? I mean, there's so many little things that I've learned in Belize that have helped me appreciate my Blackness more. Because the U.S. has 13% Black folk. Okay, we can't make nothing happen, and they're not gonna honor us if they don't have to. So we get what we fought for. We fought and bled for a whole bunch of stuff, and there are a few things to show for it. Okay, but at the end of the day, we are all wonderful. We are magnificent beings. And people need to say that to us over and over again. I taught for 30 years. Okay? I taught people from around the world because I taught in downtown Chicago, low-income students, okay, who I could stand in the hallway and know who we were fighting somewhere in the world because we're always fighting somebody. See, we got to get the whole picture in here. When the Russians were out, the Russians were in, the Iraqis are out, the Iraqis are in. I could look at my classroom and see the pictures, see the stories. Okay, but nobody, and then what I realized after about 20 years is that everybody wanted the same thing. Everybody just wants to be happy. They want to bring enough money home so they can feed their families, send their kids to school, keep the uniforms clean, be okay people. That's all everybody wanted. So why
Oh,
can't we have it? Why can't we have something so simple as that? And the short answer is because they don't want us to know that. We can only be happy if we do what they say we are supposed to do. And we've got to break that cycle. So
uh,
I've seen it. Like I said, I taught 10,000 plus people of every race, nationality, creed, color, denomination, you name it, I taught it. And we're just all decent human beings who love our families and want people to love us back. There are a few
so
people who don't want that, and they're in charge.
in terms, thanks, Dr. for that, Dr. Benita, for that expression. And we most need to understand that we are beautiful individuals and that we are great individuals and that the possibilities are limitless for us as Africans. Now, I'm going more to Moses and Emilio. As young participation in the Wachari project, how important is it? Because many of these courses are only leading towards self-determination as African people. How important is self-determination and economic stability and freedom? And to you, Moses, and to you, Emilio.
Um, it's not only important, but it's necessary. And as long as we realize this and we have the tools to venture toward um, those, then there's nothing else as important, right? So this opportunity is a really great opportunity, and we need to take advantage of it, as I will do per se.
And to you, Emilio, how important is self-determination to you and economic stability that will be achieved from these courses?
Well, I think that is it's about the most important thing because, like, say, for example, my normal answer when someone asks me, how are you doing, is that I am sexy, I'm damn fine, right? I'm very good looking, I'm feeling amazing today. And people don't like that answer. Some people do not. And so whenever we encourage and empower each other as Black people, as people in the Caribbean and Central America, we have to realize that we're looking in the mirror, and we cannot wait till someone else tells us something like that. We have to tell ourselves.
Selves,
We have
yeah.
to we have to empower our women. We have to empower all the brothers that are around. We have to empower the children, every single person in the community. We cannot wait until someone else do this for us, because it's not going to work, or else we'll be waiting for another 500-600 years. So I think that the courses are very relevant because they will teach us how to exercise the power we already have inside of us. It's just that we're not too aware of what that actually means. So we have a big responsibility of telling yourself that you're damn sexy in the mirror by empowering each other and supporting each other as a group.
Okay, thanks for that, Emilio and Moses. So, Dr. Charmaine, now, when we're done with these courses, when the people who would like to be participate in these courses are finished with these courses, what next? What could possibly be next after these courses?
Well, once people are exposed to different big tools as to how they can make what they're doing better, the idea is to apply it and give us feedback on how well that is going for them. Based on that follow-up and what is going on, there may be opportunities to offer more courses in that vein. depending on what people say has happened and what more they would like to learn. So the idea is to be guided by our participants as to where to go next. But with all of this, just to concur with Emilio and everyone else in the panel, the idea is to be empowered out of poverty, empowered self to be able to move forward in a self-determined way, um, keeping focused on your goal individually and collectively. There is a form, if you don't mind me paying attention to the form, there is a Google survey form that is pinned somewhere on your StreamYard or on the chat, which we would love for persons watching and also for members of the Wachari group to complete. It is going to allow us to know specifically who you are and how we can approach this course for you. We are asking if you could complete it, and it will certainly give us information as to when you'll be available, what day would be best, and all those other little specifics that is going to be important for us to know. So I'm encourage everyone who is listening, if you're interested, just click the little link that is pinned at the top of the comment section and complete that survey, and we will certainly be getting back to you.
All right, everyone, just complete that survey because data is very much important in conducting anything. And in Belize, probably we don't see the importance of data. We see, oh, just another survey. But in being effective, you have to have data, and data is very much important in conducting effective program.
I'm very happy that you said that, Jamal, because it's also important to collect data in your business and your project. And doing the course will help you to better collect and understand and use the data that you have in order to better plan ahead. Yes, data is very important. So thank you for reinforcing that point.
And for thanks, Mr. Castillo, with Dr. Benita. As a person coming, one last question, Dr. Benita. As a person coming from in Belize, you said that you did not were not aware of the Garifuna here being in Belize. What would you like to see our people, our African people here in Belize achieve at the end of this at the end of these courses?
Okay, my participation in the Wachari project is deliberate, and I want for you what I want for all Black people. I want us to love each other, love ourselves, to grow and develop. We come here not just to survive, but to thrive, to be at the best version of ourselves that we could ever be. We've been shortchanged. We've been lied to. We've been demonized. We're not the worst thing on planet Earth. Okay? We're not. And we keep being told that over and over again. So I want to stop hearing the same tired tropes about we don't trust each other, we don't this each other. Listen, I heard it in Jamaica, I heard it in Trinidad, I heard it, in Ghana, okay, South Africa. Oh, it's terrible. I mean, anywhere you go, and of course in the U.S. I mean, come on, we can, and all of this a lie. There are large pockets of people who get along very well. Large pockets, more pockets than you know about. But you'll never hear that. That will never be on the 6 o'clock news. That will never be part of the narrative. The narrative is something's wrong with y'all. Get yourself together. Make more money so we can make more money. That's our role. And as long as we keep playing that role, they're happy. They're happy, happy, happy. We have to say, nah, no, 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 not this time. You can catch that one over there, but you don't catch. You're not gonna catch me in this one. I'll play that game. I played that game 20 times, and every time I lost, no, thank you. I'm not playing that game anymore. We've got to get smarter. And so, yeah, I want the Wachari. I joined this project because it's a beautiful project. It has one agenda to build a nation. We don't have a nation in the African diaspora, not one. And if we can make this happen, oh my God, I will be so ecstatic because it means that we're finally cutting the cords, that we're finally making our lives our own. We're not listening to other people tell us what's wrong with us. We're saying, hey, 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 we got this. We know we are wonderful, fabulous people. We came from abundance. We belong in abundance, and abundance is ours. And the only scarcity we have right now is in our head, where it's dark and lonely, and we can't survive there. So this time to break open, break out, get out among the people, start talking to one another. Don't be afraid of each other. I mean, I, I'm from Chicago because I lived 35 years in Chicago. People tell me how rough Chicago is. Really? Okay, well, that's not how I saw it.
Excellent
I
points.
went to the worst neighborhoods. I saw beautiful
Dr.
people everywhere I went. I'm done.
Dr. Renita, excellent point because we perceive ourselves sometimes as being weak, and we perceive ourselves as being limited in talent, and we perceive ourselves to be separate from Africa or separate from the Maryland. But like Marcus Garvey always said, what Marcus Garvey said, Africans are Africans at home and abroad. And that means that's a deep sentiment. That means organize, get together because you're all African descendants. We're moving now to our closing statement, guys. So Moses, in closing, what would you like to say to the people to motivate them to come on to Wachari project again, and also to motivate them to engage and benefit from these courses? And that question will be for everyone.
First, I just want to piggyback off what Dr. Ramirez said. That was very beautiful and powerful statements that you made. So thank you for that. And thank you for giving your time as well. To everyone, this is a very important and a great opportunity to make an impact on not only yourself, your family, but for the next generation as well, which is our responsibility, right? So if anything that was said resonated with you, then come along, bring your ideas, let's collaborate, let's work together. We're working together to try to build a nation and be a part of a great movement because we'll do it one way or another, right? It's our time and we need to do it, and we need to secure it for the next generation. So that could be enough motivation, you know. We don't want to do it for ourselves, let's do it for the youths. They deserve it, right? And yeah, so that's my part.
Miss Charmaine, Miss Castillo.
Well, I think Moses said it very perfectly, and I would also like to just really thank Dr. Venita for those very powerful words. Um, we are in control, destiny is in our hands, and these courses will facilitate those who take them how to take control of their destiny. So I encourage everyone to participate. There is something to be learned. There is value in this, and there's value in in yourselves.
Brother Emilio?
Well, I would just say if you like what you see in the mirror, start to do something about it. Start to groom yourself and groom others who look like you. Start to encourage yourself, encourage people who look like you. It's this is the time for us to come together with self and others and take the necessary step forward, because we're already having too many discussions about the things that are not working, and I want to hear about the things that will work. Not let's see how it goes, but to ensure that it goes the way we want it, the way we plan it out. And so I would say, come to the Tuesday meetings that we have every week, the community meeting for the Wachari project. It doesn't matter what you do, even if it's just to go and rake the yard. You can learn how to market yourself as an individual. Any job that you can possibly think about as creators, it can exist. Create jobs that you don't see around and make it work. So the Wachari project, the community meetings that we have on Tuesdays is a good outlet for you to come and build yourself, I would say.
Dr. Benita, just your closing statement.
I'm going to piggyback on what Emilio just said. We're here building ourselves. There is no bigger, better project on planet Earth than you being you being the best version of you. And that's what we are about. We're trying here to help you. And anything we can do that will facilitate you, make it easier for you, just let us know. And we'll do what we can to make it happen. We're here, we're in service to the community. And that's why I like the project, because it's not about any of us per se. It's about what can we build together. Okay, and each of us will individually benefit, but as a collective, we will benefit more over 10x it. Okay, as we phrase everybody likes using these days. But so I'm glad to be a part of the project. I'm glad I was allowed to be included in the project. I'm glad that this is a project that exists in Belize, where I chose to come, not knowing that the project also was here. But I'm glad that we are now friends and that we can together work together to make for a better world for all of us. And legacy is family legacy is critical.
With that said, guys, I would like to say thanks for coming on and sharing such motivational word with us. The end of Black History Month, we're African, the decade of Afro descendants. We're still in the decade of Afro descendants as well. It's powerful to see that the Wachari project is moving along and that we might reach self-determination, a dream, a mission. That one of the great person that I follow, like I always have to mention, Marcus Garvey always said that if organize, and self-determination is key. And that's it, guys. Everyone, please follow the farm, the survey, for the Wachari to get for them to specifically develop courses to your need, and also tell everyone to come on board to the Wachari project. It's one of the best projects for African descendants and for our developing of a nation. So with that said, guys, we're done for the night. Any other statement by any of the panelists? All right, take it away, guys. And that's it for tonight's discussion. Organize. And that with Wachari. Good night, everyone. Good night. Ayo.